even more pronounced. And when you consider these huge challenges, especially through the current economic climate, we have the predatory gender-based violence battle that we are fighting, which has reached shocking levels. No woman is safe. Young and old, no one is escaping this scourge. As we gather here today, please let us consider all of these issues in our own spaces and where we can make a difference. I would personally plead that we move away from generalities to finding practical measures to address these challenges. Gone are the days of the 1950s and before that, despite the enormous contribution that women made, they were not recognized to enter high positions of leadership because of patriarchy. Yes, there's still patriarchy today, but today we're in positions of authority as women to be able to make real and tangible differences to the lives of our women. So let us use that authority to make the lives of our women better. We must continue to have hope that our sincere and united and effective actions as women will defeat the many scourges and battle that we live with. We should also never give up, but persevere and keep making even little efforts, which cumulatively is the key to success. Because these little acts of defiance against the battles in our society also constitute courage, a fundamental strength which speak truth to power, just like the women of the 1956 march. Because of their determination, dignity, and recognizing their own potential, we know it is possible, just as we women and all women in our country today have achieved much for themselves through their own efforts and by demanding their rights. But government and society as a whole needs to come closer together and cooperate as they have done in other spaces, and coming together specifically to address the women's needs, the needs of women practically. After so many years without an ANC Women's League conference, I express my heartiest congratulations that you made it to gather for your conference. May I salute and congratulate the National Task Team and the new leadership of the ANC Women's League. I wish to also congratulate all provincial PTTs and the branches of the Women's League across the length and breadth of South Africa. You successfully concluded this mammoth task, which was overdue. Well done. So, in concluding my humble delivery, I would like to congratulate all of you and wish you a very successful Women's Month. A giant army of South African women has been awoken. We see it in so many spheres, and most recently, our women proudly flying the flag in the international space of the global sports arena. We express special congratulations to our dear Proteas netball team and to our beloved Banyana Banyana soccer heroes. So let us be united and considerate at all times. Let us love one another. Let us always respect and value each other. Enjoy the rest of your Women's Day and the rest of your Women's Month. God bless you and God bless the women of South Africa. Amandla! Amandla! Malibongwe!
Another round of applause for that beautiful, beautiful message from our mother, Mama Sophia Dubrain, delivered by her beautiful daughters. Bagolo, ladies and gentlemen, ke batla go le leboga for allowing me to run the first part of our program. But before I leave the podium, ke na le kopo from this side, bongwana ke mola ba arts and culture, ke kopa le nneng le tidimalo tle, ke a le kopa le ska nna ntse le disturba batho ge ba bua tu. Ke a itse le na le tlhompho kgale re bereka le lona, ke a le kopa ne ka boikokobetso tle. So ke batla go le leboga gape, and ke re our poet said to us that the names of women who contributed to the freedom that we enjoy today must be hung up for everybody to acknowledge. Now we got the names of that women who contributed to our freedom. I'm going to hand over now to my co-program director, who also was acknowledged when I opened the program in both her role as the president of the Women's League, but also as a deputy minister. She will be doing further acknowledgements and run the second half of the program. Ke kopa re mo amogeleng ka le go fitlhe.
Thank you, comrades. Malbongwe! Malbongwe! Igama lamakhosikazi, wathinta iBhokoto, wathinta umama, phambili ngomama Sophie Brain phambili. Siphilele mama Sophie Brain, siphilele. Amandla. Thank you very much, my dear program director. Everybody has been acknowledged. Thank you so much, my sister. I really want to acknowledge the women's political parties that are present here. I belong to one of those. I cannot really appreciate and say, hi, sisters, hi. Hi, sisters, hi. Thank you so much. And now, as we are going to move faster with our program, we are going to call one of our own, a tried and tested leader of the ruling party, a cadre of the movement who has been around for quite the longest time. She is part of us. She has led almost all the structures of our liberation movement. She has been deployed in different departments as a head, majority of time as minister. I guess, President, one day you will call her Miss Fix It. Because whenever there's a problem, in whatever way, she's always brought to that and she resolved all those. I'm going to call upon now the Minister of Women, Youth and Persons with Disability, Umama Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. Albongwe! Albongwe! Kamala makhosikazi, wathinta iBhokoto, wathinta umama. Thank you so much. Over to you, Minister.
Thank you very much to our program director, who is also the Deputy Minister of Women, Youth and Persons with Disability. Of course, the brand new president of the ANC Women's League. Greetings to His Excellency, the President of the Republic, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa. Greetings to Umama Sophia de Bruyn, on whose shoulders we stand. Greetings to the Premier of Gauteng. The Honorable Panyaza. Greetings to the MMC. And greetings to the ministers who are here, deputy ministers, members of parliament, members of political parties who are here, and more importantly, all of you who have decided to spend your day here. Watinta bafazi, uzokufa finish. I'm honored and humbled to participate in this commemoration of the fearless, organized, united women who ensured that they came and stormed the citadel of men. I'll just say nobody had done it before. And they came and they said, Watinta bafazi. This because we won't say a lot today because we have our own president who's going to speak. But I just want to say something about patriarchy. And I want to quote from one of our finest sons of the continent, Thomas Sankara. As Thomas Sankara said, and I quote, Frederick not only traced the evolution of technology, but also the history of the enslavement of women, which was born with the arrival of private property, owing to the transition from one mode of production to another, and from one form of social organization to another. Mankind first knew slavery with the advent of private property. Man became the master of his slave and the land, and also became the owner of the woman. This was the great historic defeat of the female sex. It came about with the upheaval in the division of labor as a result of new modes of production and a revolution in the means of production. In this way, paternal rights replaced maternal rights. And property was now handed down from father to son rather than from the woman to her clan. The patriarchal family and patriarchal society made its appearance. Founded on the sole and personal property of the father who had become the head of family, within the family, the woman, and within society, the woman was oppressed. In South Africa, that translated into what Umamu Sophie was saying, triple oppression. We got oppressed because we were women, according to our race, because we were black, and class, because we were workers. So I just thought today, as we remember those giants who fought this patriarchal system and bequeathed us with a South Africa that was better, we have made strides since democracy, but a lot more still needs to be done. Let me say, even God did not create women as oppressed. There was equality in that Garden of Eden. God created an equal society for us. So we must go back to that equal society. And also South Africa, Mr. President, is not free. O.R. Tambo said no country can boast of being free until its women are free. So we are not free. South Africa is not free. It will only be free when we are free as women. And I just want to touch on GBV and femicide and that sketch. I want to say, as government, President, let's take the district model approach, even on GBV. Let's say in every ward, the councillor must be at the forefront of fighting GBV. Induna, Inkosi, the religious leader in that ward must be at the forefront of fighting GBV. If we can do that, I think we can start to make a dent. And in every ward, we should say zero tolerance to GBV. You are not going to live in this ward if you are going to abuse and kill and harm women. So I think if we take that approach, we can make some inroads. And of course, we also think that I believe that our ancestors look upon us. And I think today they are very happy. They are happy because Banyana Banyana has made history. They are not only the African champions, but they were able to get into the round of 16. And they do that against very difficult challenges. There is no women soccer league in the country. There must be. They get paid less than their male counterparts. The wage gap in South Africa is still there. Iceland has made it illegal to pay a woman less than a man for work of equal value. Shouldn't we do that as well? Yes. I think we should do that as well. They are also happy because I'm sure they were with us in Cape Town when the Spar netball Proteas were playing there, and they bequeathed themselves very well. And I'm sure the president will say more on that. I won't. Before I conclude, women must have access to justice. There are very serious problems with women accessing justice. I won't go further than that. It's a story for another day, but it must be mentioned. The LGBTQIA+ must stop being killed, discriminated against. They must have their rights like all of us. But women must be in the economy of this country, not just in the formal, not only in the small and medium, but they must also be part of the big corporates in this country. This country won't reach its full potential unless women participate equally in every area of human endeavor. Malibongwe! Malibongwe! It is now my singular honor to call upon our President, His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa.
Amandla. Amandla. Forward with the women of South Africa, forward. Amandla. Dumelang. Dimasiari. Abshin. Sanbonani. Molweni. Lochani. Good afternoon to you all. Program Director, Minister Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, Minister Zizi Kodwa, and other ministers who are also here today, as well as our deputy ministers. The Premier of the Gauteng province, kana babisa panya panya kapa babisa Okay. The MMC of the Mayoral Committee of Tshwane, members of Parliament who are here with us today, representatives and leaders of various political parties here present, religious leaders, our traditional leaders who are also here with us, and community leaders also here present, and guests both representing various countries and guests from around the country as well, and more importantly, Mama Sophie de Bruyn. I greet all the women of South Africa on this very special, auspicious day, the 9th of August, Women's Day. Today, as men and as women, we celebrate the beautiful mothers of our nation, our sisters who are also beautiful, our grandmothers who are outstandingly beautiful, and our daughters who are extraordinarily beautiful. Together, we thank the women of South Africa for the role that they have played in the life of our nation. And the role of women in our country has been phenomenal. Today, we celebrate how far we have come in building a non-sexist society where women, and we are striving to ensure that women become freer and attain that moment, Minister Dlamini Zuma, of total freedom, where women, and we are doing this, we are inspiring that women should enjoy equal rights to those of men as guaranteed by our Constitution. As we do this, we recall the suffering that the women of our country have endured for no reason other than that they were women. And of course, they have also suffered under another form of oppression, which is because the majority of them are black or were black during the apartheid days, and also because they came from the working class stock. We remember the courageous struggles waged by women against oppression from those who stood up against colonialism and slavery, to those who risked jail, the hated Dom Pass or the Pass. We remember those women who took up arms against a violent regime, who organized workers to fight exploitation, and who led political movements as well as civic movements, and who were involved in the drafting also of our new constitution. Today, of all days, we salute Imbokodo, Amakawekazi, the brave pioneers who marched onto the Union buildings here on this day in 1956. There are few moments more compelling in our history than the day when tens of thousands of women gathered in the amphitheater of these Union buildings. I often tell people that whenever we had visits from other countries, when heads of state come here, I always take them to what we've put at the Union buildings to symbolize that march on the Union buildings. Two rocks, one forming the base and one inside the base as a grinding stone. And I always take time to tell them in some detail about the march of 20,000 women on the Union buildings. We are still moved by the images of women like Lillian Ngoyi, Rahima Musa, Sophie de Bruyn, and Helen Joseph carrying armfuls of petitions from the women of South Africa. I still remember that picture where Mama de Bruyn was carrying these reams of papers, beautiful as she still looks today. We are honored and privileged to have amongst us today this remarkable woman, Auntie Sophie de Bruyn. We are grateful for your lifetime of service and your continued contribution to the cause of women's emancipation. And all of us, Mama de Bruyn, we say thank you. Thank you for the sacrifices that you and those who were with you made to get us where we are. The women marched here to the Union buildings, to the seat of the apartheid power, to demand the end to laws that were intended to deprive them of their rights and dignity as black women. Today, all the women of South Africa, whether they are black, white, Indian, or colored, do have rights that we can celebrate today. We thank them for the bravery of activism and sacrifices of that generation of 1956. Thanks to the struggle over the generations, all South African women have the right to vote today, which women did not have. They have the right to work, a right that was restricted or limited just to menial jobs and domestic work. They have the right to have control over their bodies, the right also to property and to be able to own assets, even though that right is still restricted. On this Women's Day, we pay tribute to Imbokodo from across South Africa for their resilience. Despite the hardships, the deprivation, and the many difficulties, South African women continue to stand strong. They bring up the nation. The children are brought up, all of us were brought up by the women of South Africa. And we must celebrate that. And we must thank the women of our country for making us to be what we are today. We say thank you very much. Indeed, you are the mothers of the nation. The women of our country today run businesses. They earn livings. They learn skills. They raise families. And they lead organizations. And today they also hold public office. Even when opportunities are difficult to come by, South African women do not give up rather. They do not run away. They do not succumb. They actually stick to the job because, as it is often said, bomme kapo basadi ba tshwara thipa ka bohaleng ba yona. A free translation meaning the women of South Africa hold the life on its sharp end. That's the determination that the women of our country have, and we applaud you for that. We applaud the women of our country for the courage that they have. In every part of this country, women are taking charge of their destinies. They are also inspiring others, and they are also driving change. They are excelling in areas once closed to women, as engineers, as scientists, as managers, as pilots, as farmers, as athletes, as soldiers. And when it comes to soldiers, that's when I admire them the most, because I always see them on Armed Forces Day, carrying the very big guns with lipstick on their mouths, and I always wonder, lipstick and a big gun, how do the two connect? But the women of our country have broken into those areas. And today, in Durban and Kabeja, the women of our country under Transnet, they are now shepherding 7 vessels into the sea in an all-women crew. The women of the country are forging into areas that we never thought they would be. They are captains, they are pilots, they are on fighter jets, and they are going into various areas. So women are the strength of our nation. They carry our nation, and the women of our country prepare the next generation for a better future. And as a country, we have come a long way in advancing the rights of women. This is largely due to the struggles that the women of our country waged and continue to wage. And on this, I will say to the women of our country, never ever stop and never ever give up. You must continue the pressure to ensure that women do get their due right in this country. That we must continue to do. Because in the end, the women of our country, being the majority population section in our country, have to get what is due to them. And also, there is the question that the women of our country have raised repeatedly, and this is about representation. The women of our country have demanded that they need to be represented in every endeavor that affects the lives of South Africans. And they have clearly said nothing about them without them being involved. And this must become a reality, because without these types of insistence and struggle, we would not be where we are. Since the advent of democracy in 1994, we have put policies and laws in place to empower women, to improve their lives and to advance gender equality. And we see some of these we see the advancement, we see how women are surging forward. South Africa has one of the highest literacy rates in our region, on the continent. There is parity between girls and boys in primary school enrollment. More female learners sit for matric than males. Female learners are achieving more bachelor passes, and one could actually safely say women are proving to be cleverer than men, and we applaud this. Yes, you only need to go to check the matric results. You will see that the young girls are surging forward. So, Premier, girls and women are cleverer than you and me. So let's accept that. Young women make up the majority of students enrolled in higher education institutions, in our colleges and in our universities. And we should encourage this and make sure that